Yeah, and honestly, my father always took his biggest pride was making sure he put food on the table for our main guys. That was always his goal, and the guys always came first. Bottom line, you're nothing without your people, man. You're a person sitting at your desk by yourself.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really like you can feel that with your work because there's no bricks going to get laid from inside an office without a doubt.
And it's very sad, honestly. So I mean, I honestly, it's being honest and forming those relationships is really where it's at, because those the people that you can have that are honest in those relationships, those are the ones that are going to prosper, and those are the ones that are going to bring you wins at your business. Bottom line.
Hey, business builders, we are joined today by Paul Cantarella, who is the CEO of Cantarella and Sons Masonry. They're in New England. They're starting a new project that Paul is super excited about that requires intricate cutting of blocks. And in this interview, we talk about the trades. We talk about what does a good day mean when you're a mason? What does it mean to have a good day laying bricks? Why would somebody want to get into that line of work? We talk about how they built the business when he and his father back in 2003 split from an existing family business. Paul's fourth generation mason, bricklayer type mason. He's the third generation owner of a family business. So I think you're going to love his story. The other thing about Paul is he talks about from the heart some deep emotional topics, some things that when we put these things out in the open, it helps us to share it and it helps other people. And Paul talks about his mom and about what a force she was in the family and in the business, and how she passed right when they were in the middle of a project that was one of his favorite projects that he's ever done. And then he also talks about the passing of his daughter, Skylar, and about why he uses that to give other parents the message of, hug your kids, love on them, be present. And so Paul and I know each other from LinkedIn. We've interacted there for quite a few years because we like each other's content and things about loving our work and about leadership. And so I'm really excited to share Paul's story with you today. There's gifts here that you can take with you and apply. I think you're going to love it. And so go get them, business builder.
Welcome to the Business Builder Way podcast, where we help business builders grow leadership skills and wisdom and stay grounded through hero stories. So let's get after it.
Paul, thanks for joining us on the Business Builder Way. I'm looking forward to hearing your story.
Wayne, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, you bet. So, yeah, just can you tell us, Paul, like you're in the trades, masonry contractor. How did you get into this? How did you come to be a business owner? Just like tell us your story.
All right. So at the end of the day, we're a family business mason contractors. My grandfather was the original starter of the business in 1935, 1936. I am a fourth generation Mason, third generation to run the family business. Growing up as a kid, I mean, I tagged along with my father anytime I could, sitting in job meetings or just even going to the office, sitting out in the forklifts out in the yard, and just always wanted to be around the business, I guess, and followed him a lot. So it was just a natural transition as I got older. And was able to start getting in the summers and maybe in the shops, just sweeping and oiling, greasing screw jacks and trying to fix some braces and stuff. But every summer, I'd be doing a little bit more. And I always loved being around it. My mother always tried to maybe tell me I could do whatever, and I didn't have to get into it, but I loved it. And so I just every summer would work, and went on to college. And in between my time at college and the summers, I'd work. And honestly, where I went to school, we would have projects nearby that if I had a chance to go during the week, or if I had a little time, I'd go to the job for a little bit. And just transitioned from college to working full time in the business. Unfortunately, with family businesses, 2003, our family business split. Me and my father kind of went our own little path and started our own journey, and it was basically 2003, and from then I had to step into a leadership role with my father, and I guess I kind of almost would say the kind of the rest is history. I've been here ever since.
Can you tell us a little bit about the business now? Like Cantarella and Son, is it? I mean, you're sitting in an office, so that's part of it. I see your posts on LinkedIn, so I know you do some work at colleges, things like that. But just how many people work there? Union, non-union, like office, trucks, like just what is the business?
Yeah, no, I mean we've grown by far. We are a union mason contractor. My mom and father used to always, kind of say, "We're just a mom and pop shop," but I think we really have come a long ways. And I even think back then we weren't a mom and shop pop, and we always had we done doing commercial masonry a year. We were always a part of some of the largest projects in our area. So we were always at that level. But I really feel these last probably 10 years, 15 years, we really have had some growth in the company. We finally purchased some hydromobile scaffold a couple of years ago, which was something I never thought we'd have. Just a lot of equipment and items that I never dreamed of a kid that we'd be able to purchase and have for our own to benefit our guys out in the field and to make us more productive. Trucks, we have most of the guys have the foremans have trucks and stuff. My only other big pet peeve has always been forklifts. They've always been my pride and joy, and I've spent a lot of money keeping my machines tip-top shape because it always just flushed me that everybody always wants something for me when you're on the job and you're the mason. But I've always taken a lot of pride in my forklifts, honestly. I think growing up, I always saw people didn't take care of stuff, and I always wanted to make sure when it was my turn to lead that we took care of our equipment and maintained it and made sure everybody had good stuff when it got out to the job site.
It's interesting. I don't know if you know this or not, but this is the second time you've mentioned forklifts because when you were talking about being a young person looking at the business, you talked about the forklifts. Like that was, yeah.
But I can't even tell you the amount of hours I used to sit down at the old shop and sit in those things. And if I was lucky, if you moved a lever or two, it might just move a little bit and drop or something, which made you think you were doing something. But yeah, I just I don't know. I always thought those were the coolest things to me. I mean, honestly, I can remember, sadly, as I'm a safety guy, my father let me ride on hanging on to the side as he'd be on the shop trying to unload a truck or do something. Actually, it was funny because my father had one of his original forklifts, and probably about 15 years ago, it was just sitting at the old. I said, it's gotta go finally. You know what I mean? We were still trying to use it, didn't have much brakes, but yeah, I've always I don't know. I always had a thing for forklifts, I guess.
My grandfather, who I know like we've interacted on LinkedIn and you've seen this, my grandfather was very important to me, grew up with him, and he was a coal miner when I was a young kid. But then he went to go work at my uncle has a lumber distribution building supply business. And my grandfather got out of the mines and went there and drove a forklift all the time. And I used to ride on the side of the forklift with him. And then later on, was working with him over the summer, and he taught me to run the thing and how to put a unit of, plywood or 2x6s or whatever on the back of the flatbed delivery truck. So I enjoyed forklift stuff too. Kind of it was scary having stuff up real high, like a unit of lumber, bringing it down and everything. But yeah, I get it. I get it.
Hey, I always tell people there's only one better forklift driver out there than me.
And
They haven't found him yet.
okay, I'm still looking for him. So 2003, and you and your dad, the thing splits. Because yeah, sure, that does happen in family businesses. Did you start running it right away, or did dad, and then you transitioned, or?
I mean, I really we started the business, when we split, we started our second business, which is now Cantarella and Son, and which was in my name. So, I knew at that point I had to really step up to the plate. And my mom had always told me, when it's your turn to lead, you better have your ideas or how you want to do things. So I had already had my thoughts at that point. So I feel like it was me and my father together really going on that mission. Because as my mom said to me, your father and I know what to do in the office. We know how to do that part. It's really the weight's on your shoulders of what you're going to do out in the field with everybody and how you're going to do your stuff, which I carried for a long time on my shoulders because my mom actually passed in 2012 in an accident. So I never really got the chance to really talk much. It was sadly when we were just really starting to get to our peak.
Okay.
And really starting to get some momentum. Because starting from scratch, it was a hard thing. So I never got the chance to let my mom see that. Shit, I forgot where I was going, Wayne.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. Well, it's fun. It is interesting. You mentioned your mom a couple times,
Oh,
Paul.
when my mom passed in 2012, that's when I really stepped up to the day-to-day stuff, because at that point I knew my father has done his tenure, and he was dealing with everything that he was dealing with after the accident. So I mean, that was really, from then on, I'd say was solely me day to day.
Gotcha. And you were able to help him exit the business and retire in the way that he wanted to. And
Um, I don't know. I hope it was. You know what I mean? I just think with my mother's accident, it might have. I don't know. He's part of the old crew of people, man. I don't know. I think he'd still be here.
still be working.
Honestly. He stopped
Yeah.
by this morning, actually. Was just stopped in a couple hours ago. So I mean, I don't know. I think he'd still be around, but at the same time, he did his deed. He to me, he deserved to enjoy life. And then here or there, he would come in and do some stuff in the summer times. He'd come back from Florida, so he'd help out here or there with a job or two, or doing a little estimating or something. So we tease him a little bit each year here or there, but these last 4 or 5 years, he's more really legit retired.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
That's really great. What so 2003, you said 2012-ish when mom passed, and yet clearly mom was important to you because you've mentioned forklifts and mom now are two
Yeah, I mean,
themes that have recurred.
she was our office manager. I mean, you know, she kept everything together at the end of the day, twofold. We kept arbitrated between me and my father. And I know that was not easy with that being her husband. It was a rocky road sometimes, because I know, she did the best to try to navigate us and keep us going on the straight path and keep us together. God damn it.
What'd she give you? What did she put into you?
Drawing a blank, but my brain's going crazy right now. The fuck was I telling?
Well, I asked you, so your mom was important to you.
Yeah.
I
So
guess
yeah.
she
So I
was.
mean, at the end of the day, she was our fearless, just as much our fearless leader as my father, man. So she just instilled in me the biggest things from her was her honesty and making sure you're direct with people. I mean, another downside of that I did get from my mother is my potty mouth. If people that know me, I have a hard time with that, and I always try to tell people that it really did come from my mother. But she definitely was the rock after the split to keep us all rolling and keep us all in line, especially at family dinners.
Yeah, well, and I worked with my dad for 9 years in a family business, and then a little bit before that So like I get it. Like I tell people it was the best of times and it was the worst of times working together with dad. And now he and I can like go to breakfast and we talk about what I do now and we talk about he's 70 and we talk about his current business things that he's working on and it's nice. But I'm grateful for the time that we had together. But it's not yeah, it's not always easy for sure.
No, it's it definitely hasn't, and it's definitely been challenging for me and him. To be straight up front, it's definitely had a hard time in our relationship as father and son, and to this day, honestly, which
Think
which definitely sucks.
everybody who's worked with a family member probably can identify with that. And
Yeah.
if we see it and then choose to try to help it get better, then that's all we can control in the moment,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So it's always
100%.
about yeah, progress and one more brick, right? Like
Yeah,
brick by brick.
it's true. It is.
And you know
You
that.
hit the nail on the nail on the head.
From 2003 until now, 2025, just relative to the business, what was like a scary part? What was a part in the business where you're like, man, this is a rough patch that we're going through?
That's pretty simple for me. My biggest thing has always been safety. And I mean, I won't lie, I'm deadly afraid of heights. So that definitely probably played a factor in maybe some of my safety, but it was probably right after we split and we had a job going and we had one of our foreman, longtime foremans. I mean, he actually removed the guardrail himself to bring a load mud into the scaffold, and it was winter time. I mean, 8 feet off the ground and weren't even high, and he just moved the guardrail, and somehow he fell and hit his head and broke his wrist. That job was about an hour away from here, and they life flighted him. He was in a coma for a good few days. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, as a young guy, driving an hour home from seeing somebody in a coma that was putting their blood, sweat, and tears for you to have a company, that was very hard on me. I won't lie. That took a lot out of me. But it was a very pivotal moment that I'd already committed to safety at that point anyways. When we changed or once we split, safety was always at the forefront. So it was never, that accident didn't make safety at the forefront. But let me tell you, it gives you a whole another perspective when you got to sit and look at somebody sitting in there in a coma. And that is at the end of the day, a good friend on top of it. So that by far it was my hardest times, hands down.
Yeah, it's really a tough one. Um, but I can see how that would have made a positive change in how you approach things from then on. Um, so there's a story of your company, and then the other story that I have in mind is that you seem to love the trade, love the trade of masonry. As you said, you're fourth generation in it. Uh, tell me about like younger people entering the trades or this particular trade. What speak to the industry and where it's headed, or why people could have a good career laying bricks or block or the other materials that you use.
I mean, I love what I do. I won't lie. I wish I could be out there throwing the blocks of bricks in the wall. That was by far my favorite thing to do. I loved having a good day. Just something about with your hands and working with your hands, and never mind when you get as everybody always says, drive by or just step back and see it, because masonry is always at the forefront when you're looking at a building. As a young age, I mean, it's a hard one for me because I was born into it, and I whenever my whole life on the jobs, I probably always would ask people like, how'd you get into it? Because like how does somebody get in? Like I was born into it. I know where I live, we don't have schools, so how does somebody? So as I've gotten more involved in some of the Mason Contractor Association and other things, it was really, eye opening, that really, everybody was pushing college, you know what I mean? That you had to go to college. And I remember this one Mike Rowe thing a couple of years ago. And, it had the guy at the desk in your high school sitting there talking to the student about what they were going to do. And in the background's a picture of the guy with a shovel with an X in it. And that's just it. We've been telling people that it's the worst thing you can do. And I mean, even my mother, I feel like back in the day would make a comment in a sense where people don't realize what a life and a living you can make for your family. It's endless possibilities, and it's crazy that all these years we've been pushing people to go to college, which most do not realize are actually businesses. You don't have to go to college. Yes, you have to go to high school. You don't have to go to college, but I think most people think like you have to go to college. So I'm really excited right now with the push, with people pushing about the trades. And do we need people to go to college? Bet you we do, hands down. I'm not saying we don't need people to go to college. We do, but it's unbelievable the amount of people that have wasted so much money and their time of their lives trying to go to school where, boy, some of these trades, there's plenty of opportunities. And I mean, there's numerous trades to get into if you don't want to lay block or brick, you know what I mean? So, I mean, for the kids, the opportunities are endless. The issue is getting to these kids so they can see it. And everybody talks high school, but I mean, you really need to be middle school. We do job fairs, the high schools, and the seniors weren't required to go. And it blew my mind because it's like, I'm here. If I have a chance of getting one person, it's a senior that's getting ready to get out of school. So like the disconnect all around, it's a hard fight right now. And I know you see it all the time. And you, Wayne, it's not an easy battle. I'm hoping we're all trying to join together to show these kids and women, boys and girls, like everybody keeps forgetting there's a whole segment with the young girls too. The possibilities are endless for them. I mean, we need people. You need all kinds of workers in any business, any trade. There's it's just like I said, the opportunities are endless. I will say the career fairs we've done, people love to get their hands on when we literally laying bricks. I think that's part of it, is letting them hands on even. And I will say the last one that we did do is probably 2 years ago now. We haven't gone last year. The amount of girls that came up and laid some brick by far was the most we'd ever seen when we've done it. So I'm hoping we're all trying to do our part to spread the word to the kids. Man, it's just a great opportunity for people. And at the end of the day, you learn a craft, you can go live anywhere.
I have two that are in college right now, like quote traditional. Well, one's an art student, but she's an art student, but she's like a hustler. She works at the in retail fashion. She works at, probably shouldn't mention this because she'll hear it or something, but she works at J. Crew in Soho, which is like their premier store where they get the fashions the fastest. And she shares with me when she's like, broken sales records and stuff. So she uses her artistic sense, but translated to, fashion, and like, you'd look good in this, and how about this? And I'm, pretty proud of her, and I like that. And she's done a mural on a restaurant wall that she kind of negotiated the deal and locked it down, and then went and painted off of a ladder. And so
Come
that's
on.
pretty cool.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so
That make you proud.
yeah,
Right
so
there.
so she's exceptionally talented and works hard in the school part of it, but also has a lot of, just kind of street sense and things. And then another one that's, academically very talented and goes to a school in New England and scored really high on all her tests. And, that's a different path. And I love talking with her about, literature and the things she's doing there. And then my third one, he's a blue collar guy, and he doesn't want to go to college. I did, and I'm grateful for that. I got a lot of opportunities because of doing it. My family, we were at a place where they're like, nobody's gone to college. You've got good grades. You're going to college. Pops was a coal miner and everything, right? But my son grew up around the farm here with me and working with the tractors and going to other places. And he just took our 45 horsepower tractor, our compact tractor, and tore the radiator off and put a new water pump on. Borrowed tools, looked at YouTube. Like he's just willing to try things and get in there and do it. And I don't see any reason why he should go to college and try to sit in a classroom, and it's just different paths. But you said
And you need,
something,
and again, you need both paths. You know what I mean? I'm
all
not
that.
not trying to
Yeah,
just, you know what I mean? We need for life to go around. You do need people to go to school. Hands down.
yeah. You said though about masonry, and I was interested. You said when you were out in the field, when you were laying bricks and block, you said, I loved having a good day. I loved having a good day. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I like heard in that is something like the satisfaction of knowing I did a good job. Right. And I see you nodding
Numbers.
now. So yeah, tell me about that. I loved
Yeah, I
having,
mean,
man, I had a good day.
at a young age, I laughed. My one of my cousins, they used to call him the Count back in the day, because at the end of the day, I mean, our job is our business is simple. The number of block or brick or units going into the wall is how you make your money. Bottom line.
Yep.
So it was all, I watched my cousin, growing up, because I usually would ride with him, and you're not leaving till he leaves, so you'd always stick around, and that was his thing. You go count, what did everybody get, what these group get. um I don't know. And so it was always about, like, boy, if you could get some good numbers, you just felt good. And when I look back, like, it wasn't money motivated. I was never like, oh man, I'm going to make extra money on this job, or they're going to pay me an extra bonus. I didn't get nothing. I mean, I guess, and I don't think in my head it was like, oh, this is going to be my business someday. So I just feel like I loved it. I just loved
Yeah.
it. The more I could get in, the more fun it was to me. And the more I felt good about going home. It was never like, when I look back, to me, that makes me proud that it wasn't about anything about money, or that this is my father's business or my family's business. It was just, man, I freaking love it. I truly loved pounding block brick in the wall.
Yeah, and I think that's where like that type of thing can be a really good life. Like you stack up days like that. You stack up bricks, all kinds of metaphors here, right? Like stack up bricks, stack up days, building, and then you said you drive by and like look at that hospital or look at that church or look at that school building. I I laid a bunch of those bricks. It makes sense why that it seems as though try to be in an air conditioned office, and that's easy for me to say because I'm sitting in air conditioning right now, and today is a pretty brutal day
Yeah.
out there. It's easy to see like, well, go that path and make a lot of money or whatever you think, which isn't necessarily true either. Like college jobs aren't, necessarily a lot of money either. But wow, the satisfaction of just building something and day after day. Yeah, it
But
seems like
I, I
it'd
was
be
I was
underrated.
I was upstairs yesterday going through some of our books that we have of records and stuff, and and it's funny every once in a while when I'm looking for something or just trying to look something up, and that I'm looking at it. Obviously, when I had the real good days, I'm making sure I make those notes. But it's pretty funny to look back at those notes and remember that day, or remember exactly where I was. And it's like I said,
Very cool.
I definitely miss it. People,
Nice.
like you said, we're in the air conditioning office, but boy, I definitely miss it. And honestly,
What are
the
some
big
of Go
go ahead.
ahead. What are some of the what are some of your favorite projects, buildings that y'all have built?
Oh man, well, for me, one is at UMass Amherst. It was uh this limestone came from Italy. That was probably one of my cooler jobs that I got to do, of something different for once. And honestly, what was the coolest thing was is like when it rained, it changed the complete color of this stone when
Mm,
it got wet.
mhm,
So it was
mhm.
this that was probably definitely one of my highlights. The second one was going back to my high school and getting to renovate it. That was that, and
Okay.
actually that one was bittersweet for me. It was with a big general contractor from across the country, Gilbane, and it just was the perfect job, the perfect group of people. And it was just, as I said, as we were just really starting to become our own. As my mom always said, worry about ourselves and we'll make it. And we were crushing it on that job. And my parents were in Florida because at that point they would slow down and they'd go to Florida. And um we definitely have had some shaky times before that a little bit, and really was excited for my mom to come home, honestly, because I wanted her to see. I was just like, man, wait till she comes home and sees the money coming in, like really how we're doing. And she passed 2 days in that accident 2 days before they were supposed to come home. So it was bittersweet for me because, like I said, that probably was one of my probably is going to be a close tie for one of my biggest projects or coolest projects that means the most to me. And like I said, it's bittersweet because of losing my mother too. So that was a hard one. And I'm honestly hoping right now we just picked up this museum at a local college, Williams College, that I literally will think it will probably be my career highlight job, that I'll never see something like this again. So it's
Okay. So I saw something on your LinkedIn about a table saw or
yep,
something. Is
yep.
that tie into this
Yes,
somehow?
yes. So these blocks at the end of the day are just, instead of your normal laid the regular way, these things are laid the long way upwards and they're 2 foot long. Um, and we have to be able to cut. There's so many angles on this job that we're gonna have to be able to cut angles in the field. And at the end of the day, when we make that angled cut, that block has to be finished looking.
Got
So
it.
it's these are polished blocks. So there's like I said, when this thing is done, the masonry itself will be art. It really will. So I'm super excited because you always hear about people with, what are the jobs, like you asked me, and I have those other two, and I feel like this will be the pinnacle of everything for me. But those other two have a place in my heart. That's for sure.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to watch the photos as you all work on that. Hey, I'm just gonna stick on this topic because you're quite public about this, and I think you use this to try to share your heart and help other people see things differently. And you and I recorded a podcast a while ago, and our audio wasn't quite right, and we talked about this. So
Yep.
you lost your daughter,
Yep.
and again, the people are likely to know you from LinkedIn and want to hear your story. So could you tell us a little bit about her? We want to honor her too as part of
Yeah,
that.
my daughter Skylar. And I struggle with posting it on LinkedIn sometimes. I know people get so flustered about personal stuff, but I do feel that there's such a tie-in, and like I said, I think it's the one time a year that I will try to toss something in there. In 2021, she was just not feeling right for a little bit, and we didn't quite know really what was going on. Actually, it was the year they pushed the world of concrete to the summer. It must have been because COVID.
Yep, yep.
And she was just, they were bringing her to local hospital. They sent her home for the week, and it got to the point where they had a life flighter about an hour away. And I mean, my wife was talking to me on the phone. I could see her in the background. She was talking to me, and go to the world of concrete, Dad. What are you gonna do? Sit here with me in the hospital? What do I do? And I'm like, Dad, go, and I was like, all right, you know what I mean? Then fine. And then that night, my other daughter woke me up somehow. Luckily, her phone was next to her. My wife had called, and she'd slipped away, and unconscious. And um, I drove to the hospital, and she was unconscious, and I wasn't able to say goodbye, which sucked. But like literally, she was at the hospital. We were working at this hospital.
Mm.
I could look out the window and see my guys laying brick. And I remember being up on that roof the week before. And you wonder what those rooms are. Because you don't stare, at the hospital, you don't stare. And there I am now on the other side of the glass, staring out at my guys. It was, by far the hardest moment in my life. I will not lie, I still struggle to this day.
Yeah.
It's been a very hard thing for me. I don't, um, you know, running a business is not easy, and I honestly feel like I honestly don't think I've taken the time, to tell you the truth, to really process it. But I miss her every day. And it's just ironic, to be sitting there and looking out the window and seeing your guys, and it's the crazy moment. Um, Boy, and you just don't know. Um, and as people tell you, I'm big about this, and people probably laugh at me. I'm a hugger, and I tell people I love them, man. Because you don't know when you're gonna get a chance to tell somebody, and even if it ain't somebody close to you, um, just certain other people mean stuff to you, and I've always wanted those people to know that they do mean something, even if they're not part of my close family. I just have I don't know, just have a huge heart, I guess. But Skylar was 16, and she had the whole life in front of her. Honestly, she was she was my mini me, man. She was just like me.
Yeah.
Definitely wise ass.
Ah,
That's for sure.
With the language of your mom.
Yep. Yeah, you know what? And she was one of my mom's favorite, I guess. But yeah, I didn't. Hey, no, that's funny. I never thought about that.
She would have developed that,
But yeah,
well,
miss her every day, bud.
yeah, I can't. Yeah, like I can't even imagine. I, mentioned my grandfather earlier, and just losing him was harder than I thought it would be. And of course, he was 90, and as we might say, like that's an appropriate age to pass on to the other side, but not somebody
It
16.
doesn't matter, man. It don't make it easy, especially when you look up to somebody like that. It ain't easy. It's the hard part of life, by far the hardest part.
You well, yeah, and thanks for sharing that, and thanks
I
for writing the
apologize
way
if
you do.
get a little shady, but
Well, I think that you said something about not processing it because you're so busy with work, but and I don't know, like I had kids in the hospital, but they are still here, so I don't know. I don't know what it's like. But I know that I can take what you said about love and hugs, and so it's a gift that you're giving to people, and every time when you do share that on LinkedIn, I think that lived experience of somebody who had exactly just what you described with Skylar and going to the hospital. When you share that with all of us, LinkedIn is there's so many people like you where I've gotten to know a little bit about their story, and I've gotten to meet quite a few of them in person. And why wouldn't we talk about those things? Because
fun.
you can't
Here's the
separate
deal.
it.
I wake up angry and hating myself every morning. Every morning I hate myself because I have so much anger for not doing a better job being a better father. So my point is to try to tell people, take that time with your kids. It's time you will never get back while your kids are young. Um, and you won't, if your kids grow up, you probably will never think about it. But let me tell you, you don't want to be in my shoes. I promise you.
Well, Paul, I love you, and so do a lot of. I mean, I know some other people that and yeah, so it's a gift when you share that with
Appreciate that
us.
big time, Wayne.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and and I yeah, I don't know how all this stuff works, but I bet your daughter sees that too and sees what you're doing and how
I
you're,
hope so. I'm
you
hoping
know,
somehow she's up there with
honoring,
my mom.
yeah, honoring her memory. And you've shared a couple things today about, your mom, the person that fell off the scaffolding at 8 feet being impactful. Now your daughter, but then you're in the building and your people are working out there. And look, like everybody, yeah, they're building a business takes a lot, and there's a lot of things happening, and there's problems and challenges and emotional stuff and external friction. And then all of us are humans, and you ask me, you get me to cry about things when I start telling my story about the journey and what I'm on. And I think the more we can be human like that, the better, because we do have to balance and hold all these things while also trying to be the one, in your case, who works to get that next job and be willing to have the guts to cut that kind of custom material to act like there's a lot with what you just said right there. Like there's some risk, and there's some, like, being willing to take chances there to create a really cool project for you to look at and deliver it for that particular college, and then to provide employment for the people that you have working there. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. So kudos to you.
Yeah, and honestly, my father always took his biggest pride was making sure he put food on the table for our main guys. That was always his goal, and the guys always came first. Bottom line, you're nothing without your people, man. You're a person sitting at your desk by yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's really, really like you can feel that with your work, because there's no bricks going to get laid from inside an office, without a doubt. What's next? What are you working on? What are you thinking about with the business? Where's Cantarella going?
Um, we're so we had we started a waterproof and air barrier company maybe 12 years ago. So we're getting to the point where I think it's just we're gonna bring it back under. So we're kind of bringing under the Cantarella shell. But at the end of the day, it's open. It's another whole part of the market, the air barrier caulking, that uh, to our list of what we tackle. Um, I am in the process of bringing a business partner in that's been with me
Okay.
maybe 4 or 5 years. Super, super great guy. I always say this statement, and I can honestly say, except for my mom and my daughter, I guess, which is a hard one. Things always work out for some reason. I don't know how I ever get so lucky. I really don't. But somehow we hooked up with this guy, and I'm lucky to have him. So we're in that process of getting everything squared away. So I'm excited about that future. For me, I'm hoping maybe it's a little less. It'd be good for someone else to have a little bit in their backpack, walking up the stairs with me,
Yep.
next to me. So I am kind of excited about that, and his just excited about the future, because really I've had some struggles after my daughter's loss where he's been essential to help keep us on track. And I can only imagine where, as I hoping, every year I hope I get a little bit back onto my game. I can only, the future's unlimited where we can go. The team we've built, is unbelievable. I'm surrounded by great people. As a kid growing up, I'd compare my crews to like this crew when I was a kid. I remember just having a badass crew, and I was like, boy, maybe we're there, but boy, I'm there. The crews that I have now, I know would go toe to toe from those guys back in the day, easy peasy. And the people in my office, I mean, I'm super lucky because I'm able to go to my MCAA, my events, or do this, or go to this meeting, try to help out, because I have great people back in my office supporting me. So, I mean, I couldn't, I grew up dreaming, what will it be like? Um, and I kind of feel like I'm kind of where what I used to dream, what I would hope it would be like. Oh man, I guess it's odd to really think about it and to maybe say it, but I really, if I had to think about it when I was young, this is where I would love to be, and the possibilities are endless for us. I mean, it's a crappy thing, but my biggest competitors when I was a kid, they're all gone.
Sure.
They're out of business, and the amount of contractors in my area has dwindled for mason contractors. So it kind of leaves the wide open for me. It's however we want to move forward. So I honestly, these last probably 8 months to 9 months have been super excited about work.
Good.
And even again, as I struggle with everything day to day, I feel like I've got a little extra pep as I come in the morning, which has been a good couple of years that I haven't seen in myself. So I am excited. That was a double-sworded question for me because it's something I've been talking about these last couple of months. Super pumped.
Well, the inside game and what's going on the inside is so important. It's something I talk about. I've been on the sobriety journey for 18 years, Paul, and I get to see other people that are starting that journey, and again, very different than I don't like to compare that one to this one to that one. Like it's kind of like people go through tough times, but maybe it's not the same as a soldier who's been at war or lost a child.
And
All these, they're all
you,
different.
and that's what makes me sometimes I don't like talking because everybody has hard times in their life, hands down.
And they all matter.
Yes.
And it's all time. It's this thing where time takes time, and then time over time, like from my own personal journey, um, what you were sharing about getting up and having these feelings about yourself, um, that stuff can over time get better, and but it takes time.
Yeah,
It just
ain't we
takes
kidding?
it takes time for sure.
Yes.
So that's cool. I'm glad you're excited about it, and I'm so glad that you're excited about this new building that you're constructing. And we'll be watching, like I said, those of you who are friends with you on LinkedIn to see photos of that thing. So keep
It's
bringing
gonna be
that.
cool.
Is there anything that strikes you as advice for other business builders that you'd want to share on your way out here?
I mean, I just think it's stay true to yourself. Um, and always be honest, man. Those are your two big things, man. Nothing worse than somebody's a liar and somebody you can't trust. And that's a long lost art in construction, man. Trust. And it's very sad, honestly. So I mean, I honestly it's being honest and forming those relationships is really where it's at, because the people that you can have that are honest in those relationships, those are the ones that are going to prosper, and those are the ones that are going to bring you wins at your business, bottom line.
Awesome. Paul, thanks for joining us and sharing some of your story on the Business Builder Way. We appreciate you.
No, I appreciate it big time, Wayne, for letting me share some of it. I know I talk a lot, but I love what I do, and I love talking about it, honestly.
Yeah, as you should. As you should. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you for tuning into the Business Builder Way podcast. If this episode spoke to you, click that subscribe button and share it with a friend. That's how this message gets out into the world. If it is helpful for us to have a short conversation, I'd love to do that. Send me an email at wayne@businessbuildercamp.com.